Hey, it's Taehyung. I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk about this moment again, but maybe it's time. Sometimes people only see the smiles, the laughter, the photos, but not the silence that comes after. That day, during the press interview, something inside me just cracked a little. I remember walking into the room. The lights were bright, too bright actually. Cameras were already lined up, microphones waiting. I greeted everyone like I always do, with a polite smile. I sat down, fixed my jacket, and tried to calm my breathing. It was just another interview, I told myself, but deep down, I could feel it, that strange heaviness in my chest. The first few questions were simple. How are you these days? What are you working on next? I answered them all, smiling, keeping my tone light. But when one reporter asked, Taehyung, how do you feel seeing all the changes happening around BTS now? I froze. For a second, everything around me went silent. The lights blurred a little. I could hear my heartbeat echoing in my ears. I looked down at my hands. They were slightly shaking. I tried to answer casually, but when I opened my mouth, my voice broke halfway through the sentence. I don't even know why. Maybe because lately I've been thinking a lot about time, about how fast everything moves, how we used to run everywhere together, the seven of us laughing without thinking about tomorrow. And suddenly, now, everything feels slower, quieter. I said something like, I'm proud of where we are, but what I really wanted to say was, I miss it. Not the fame, not the noise, but the moments, those small, beautiful moments when we were just together, without pressure, without cameras, just us. And then it hit me. That kind of time doesn't come back. I tried to blink the tears away, but I couldn't. The reporters were quiet. Even the flashes stopped. I laughed softly and said, Sorry, I didn't expect to cry today. My voice trembled, and I could hear the rawness in it, that part of me that I usually keep hidden. People say idols are strong, but honestly, we're human too. We hold so much memories, expectations, love, fear, all inside. And sometimes it just overflows. That day, it did for me. I think I cried because I realized how much I love them. The members, ARMY, everything we've built. And how afraid I am of time taking that away. It's a strange feeling, loving something so deeply that you start fearing its end. When the interview ended, I bowed, wiped my eyes, and smiled again. Everyone clapped softly, not out of pity, but understanding. I remember walking out of that room feeling both empty and full at the same time. That's the thing about tears sometimes. They don't mean sadness, they mean gratitude. And that day, mine were full of it. When I got back to my waiting room after that interview, I sat there for a long time. No words, no music, just me staring at the floor, still trying to understand what had just happened. I could hear the muffled sounds of people talking outside, managers, staff, journalists, but inside it was completely silent. I remember looking at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes were still red. My makeup had smudged a little under my lower lash line. I laughed quietly and said to myself, Ah, Taehyung, you cried again. But this time I didn't feel embarrassed. I didn't feel weak. I just felt real. Sometimes we spend so much time trying to hold everything together, trying to look strong for others. But that day, I realized maybe it's okay to be seen as human. Maybe it's okay to show that you feel deeply, that you care too much, that you miss something you can't get back. I leaned back in the chair and thought about the members. I could picture each of them clearly, laughing, teasing, singing. Those moments never really leave you, even when time moves forward. I thought about Jungkook's laughter, Jimin's energy, Namjoon's thoughtful eyes, Yoongi Hyung's quiet comfort, Jin Hyung's humor, and Hobi's warmth. Every face carried a story, a memory, a piece of my heart. I whispered to myself, I'm lucky. Lucky to have experienced something so pure that it hurts when you think about it. Lucky to love and be loved so deeply by people who understand me more than I understand myself. You know, when people see idols cry, they often think something is wrong, that we're tired or struggling. But sometimes tears come from gratitude too, from realizing how far we've come and how much the journey has shaped us. After a while, one of the staff members came in quietly. They asked if I was okay. I smiled and nodded, saying, "Yeah, I'm fine. It's just emotions." They didn't ask more. They just handed me a bottle of water and left the room. That small gesture felt comforting, like a reminder that even in silence, someone cares. I sat there holding that bottle for a long time. The label was slightly wrinkled, the cap still sealed. Funny how sometimes the smallest things can bring you back to yourself. I thought about ARMY, how they've seen every side of me, even the ones I didn't plan to show. And somehow they never judge, they just stayed. That thought alone made my eyes well up again. I took a deep breath and whispered, "Thank you." Not to anyone in particular, just into the air. Maybe the walls heard it. Maybe the universe did. Moments like that remind me that no matter how big everything gets, I'm still just Taehyung, a man who feels too much, loves deeply, and sometimes breaks down quietly when the world isn't looking. If there's one thing I've learned from that day, it's that tears don't make you fragile, they make you honest. They mean your heart is still open, still capable of feeling every part of life, the joy, the loss, the gratitude, all of it. And maybe that's what it really means to live. When I went home that night, the silence in my apartment felt heavier than usual. I turned off my phone for a while. I didn't want to read headlines or see clips of me crying. I just wanted to sit with the feeling, not to escape it, but to understand it. The city lights outside my window looked softer somehow. I made myself a cup of tea, sat by the window, and let the steam rise slowly between my fingers. The quiet hum of Seoul at night has always calmed me. It reminds me that even in a city that never sleeps, it's okay to pause. After some time, curiosity got the best of me. I turned my phone back on. Notifications flooded in messages from friends, members, and ARMY. I hesitated for a moment before opening the comments. And then I saw it. Thousands of messages, not pity, not judgment, just love. Fans saying things like, "It's okay to cry, Taehyung. We're proud of you. You don't have to hide your feelings." I didn't realize how much I needed to hear that until that moment. I felt this wave of warmth, like every word was a soft hug from someone miles away. ARMY has always had this incredible power. They don't just cheer for us, they see us, they feel with us. I sat there scrolling through their words, and my tears came back, but this time they were different. They weren't heavy, they felt healing. It made me think about how strange and beautiful this connection is between people who might never meet but somehow share something real through music, through emotions, through honesty. That's when I realized that being vulnerable isn't something to fear, it's something to honor. Because when you show your real self, people respond with their real hearts too. I thought about how often I tried to be strong, not for myself, but for others. And maybe that's why that moment at the press conference happened. Maybe my heart just decided it was time to stop pretending it didn't feel everything. Later that night, Jungkook called me. He said, "Hyung, I saw the clip. Are you okay?" I smiled and told him, "Yeah, I think I am. I just needed that." He laughed a little and said, "You look cool even when crying." That made me laugh too. That's Jungkook always trying to lighten the mood. After the call, I laid down on the couch and let the quiet fill the room again. It's strange how one small moment, just a few tears in front of a camera, can open up something so big inside you. I realized that day wasn't about breaking down, it was about breaking open. Letting the world see a part of me that isn't polished, that isn't scripted, just real. And maybe that's what people connected to. Not the tears themselves, but the truth behind them. The truth that sometimes, even when life looks perfect from the outside, your heart still trembles from the weight of love, time, and change. That night, before I went to bed, I wrote something in my journal. It said, "Be thankful for moments that make you cry, because they remind you that your heart is still alive." And I think I'll hold on to that for a long time. The morning after that interview, I woke up to sunlight streaming through the curtains. For a moment, I just lay there, watching the light move slowly across the floor. Everything felt quiet, not the kind of silence that feels lonely, but the kind that feels peaceful. My phone kept vibrating on the nightstand, but I didn't reach for it immediately. Instead, I just breathed. It's funny how, after you've cried your heart out, even silence feels different, softer, almost kind. Eventually, I checked my messages. There were so many. Namjoon had texted, "I saw the clip. You spoke with your heart, Taehyung. That's rare. Don't feel sorry for being real." Yoongi Hyung just sent a simple message. "Rest well. You did well." And Jin Hyung wrote, "You made me cry, you idiot. Next time, make them laugh instead." I couldn't help but smile reading that one. Even through those short messages, I felt their warmth. Each of them has seen me at my best and my worst. They know that I'm not the type to break easily, but when I do, it's because something inside me is speaking louder than I can control. After breakfast, I sat down with my guitar. I started playing a few chords, soft, slow, almost like the rhythm of my own breathing. Music has always been the place I return to when words aren't enough. That day, it felt like my soul was whispering something honest, something raw. I began humming a melody, and the words that came out surprised me. They weren't planned, just feelings turning into sound. Something about missing the laughter, missing the noise, missing the before, but also about learning to let things change, learning to love what comes after. As I sang softly to myself, I realized maybe this is what growth feels like. It's not always loud or dramatic, sometimes it's just quiet acceptance. Sometimes it's crying in front of cameras when your heart gets too heavy. And sometimes it's smiling again the next morning because you found peace in that release. You know, when I was younger, I used to think strength meant not crying, that to be professional or mature meant keeping everything inside. But now I see it differently. Strength isn't about holding it in, it's about having the courage to let it out. And that moment, that press interview, changed me in ways I didn't expect. It made me realize how much I value sincerity, not just in myself, but in the people around me. I want to be someone who speaks honestly, who doesn't hide behind perfect answers or practice smiles. That's why I love ARMY so much. You've always allowed me to be myself, whether I'm quiet, playful, emotional, or even lost. You've never demanded that I be perfect. You've just wanted me to be real. And I think that's the most beautiful kind of love, the one that asks for nothing but truth. As I strummed the last chord that morning, I whispered, "Thank you again to life, to the members, to ARMY, to every tear that reminded me who I am." I know some people will just remember that day as Taehyung cried during an interview. But for me, it was more than that. It was a turning point, a moment when I stopped trying to be unshakable and started embracing the parts of me that feel deep. And maybe that's what real strength looks like. Not the absence of emotion, but the courage to feel it fully. Weeks passed after that interview, but the memory stayed with me. Sometimes, even in the middle of schedules, it would come back that quiet moment when everything inside me spilled out. At first, I was worried that people would misunderstand it, that they would see it as weakness. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized it wasn't weakness at all. It was honesty. And honesty has always been a part of who I am, even when it's uncomfortable. During one of our breaks, I met with Namjoon Hyung. We went for a short walk, just the two of us. The air was cool and the streets were quiet. He asked, "Do you regret showing that side of yourself?" I thought for a moment and shook my head. "No," I said, because it reminded me that I still have emotions strong enough to make me cry. That means I'm still alive. He smiled and said something I'll never forget. "That's what art is, Taehyung. Feeling everything, even when it hurts." And he was right. Since then, I've started writing more, not songs for an album, not yet, but words, thoughts, feelings, pages and pages of what it means to love, to lose, to remember. Sometimes I sit at my piano late at night, playing the same melody over and over, letting my emotions guide me instead of my mind. It's strange how a single moment, one unexpected tear in front of flashing cameras, can open a door inside you, a door you didn't even know was locked. I started to notice things differently too. The small details in life, like the way morning light falls through the window or the sound of laughter echoing down the hallway during practice. I began to appreciate them more. Maybe because I realized how quickly they can become memories. Army often writes that my music and my art feel sincere, and I think that's the highest compliment anyone could ever give me, because sincerity is what I'm always chasing. Not perfection sincerity. I want my songs, my voice, and even my silence to feel honest. There's something special about letting people see the real you, even when it's messy, even when it's not your most graceful moment. It makes the connection deeper, it makes it human. One night, I opened a message from a fan who wrote, Taehyung, when I saw you cry, I didn't feel sad. I felt comforted because it reminded me that it's okay for me to cry too. That message stayed in my heart because that's exactly what I hope to give people comfort even through my imperfections. When I read messages like that, I realize why I do what I do, why I sing, why I share. It's not about being strong all the time, it's about being real so someone else out there feels less alone. Since that day, I've been more at peace with myself. I don't fight my emotions anymore. When I feel something, I let it happen. Because emotions are part of being human, part of being Taehyung. Looking back, I'm grateful for that interview. It wasn't a mistake or an embarrassing moment. It was a reminder. A reminder that behind all the lights, behind the fame, behind the expectations, there's still a man who feels, who loves deeply, who sometimes breaks, but always stands back up. And maybe that's enough. You know, I've thought a lot about what I want to say to those who watched that interview. To everyone who saw me cry that day, I want you to know it wasn't sadness that made me cry, it was love. It was love for my members, for ARMY, for the journey that shaped me. It was gratitude for every step, even the difficult ones that led me here. When I looked out into the world after that interview and saw the messages, the edits, the letters, it overwhelmed me again. Not because of pity, but because of the warmth that came from all of you. Army doesn't just see the idol, the image, the smile. You see me, the person beneath it all. And that's something I'll never take for granted. Sometimes, when I'm alone in the studio or sitting quietly by the window, I think about how far we've all come. From the days of practice rooms and exhaustion, to standing on world stages, to sitting across from reporters, trying to express feelings that words can barely capture. It's been a long road, but it's ours. I think that's what makes this journey so beautiful. Every tear, every laugh, every quiet night where I wondered if I was doing enough, it all adds up to something real, something alive. I don't want to hide those moments anymore. I don't want to pretend I'm okay when I'm not. Because I've realized that strength isn't about never breaking, it's about being brave enough to show it when you do. And to anyone out there who's listening right now, maybe lying in bed, maybe holding back tears of your own, please remember this. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You don't have to smile every day to be strong. Sometimes the most beautiful thing you can do is to feel. I want my life, my art, and my music to remind you of that. If my voice can make you feel understood, even for a few minutes, then I've done my job. That day at the interview, I walked out with tears on my face and a quiet smile. Because even though I cried, I felt lighter, like I'd let go of something I'd been carrying for too long. And maybe, just maybe, those tears were a way of saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for letting me be Taehyung, not just the artist, but the human being behind him. No matter where life takes us, no matter how much time passes, please remember this moment not as the day Taehyung cried, but as the day Taehyung felt deeply. Because I did, and I still do. This is Taehyung. Thank you for staying with me always. It's late now. The world outside my window is quiet. The city lights flicker in the distance, and for the first time today, everything feels still. I'm sitting here with a cup of tea, thinking about everything about that day, that interview, and all the emotions that came with it. Sometimes, when I replay that moment in my mind, I still see the flash of the cameras, the reflection of the lights on the table, and the look in the reporter's eyes when I couldn't hold back my tears. But now it doesn't hurt anymore. It feels like a memory that taught me something real about who I am. I think in that moment I stopped being Taehyung the idol and I just became Taehyung the person. And you know what? That felt freeing. I've spent so much of my life in front of people, performing, smiling, giving energy, creating moments that I hope will stay in your hearts. But behind every stage, every photo shoot, every interview, there's a quiet version of me that's always watching, always feeling, always wondering if I'm doing enough. That day, I realized that being strong doesn't mean pretending I'm okay all the time. It means facing the truth, even when it's heavy. And that truth is I'm still learning how to balance the boy who started this dream with the man I've become today. Still learning how to carry love and loneliness at the same time. There's something very fragile about growing up in front of the world. People see the highlights, the perfect moments, the laughter, the glow of the spotlight. But they don't always see the nights when I lie awake, staring at the ceiling, asking myself who I am beyond all of this. Sometimes I wonder if I wasn't Taehyung of BTS, would I still be the same person inside? Would I still see the world the same way? The answer I've come to realize is yes, because the heart doesn't change. The things that make me feel alive, music, art, love, connection, they're still the same. The only difference is that now I have millions of people who walk this journey with me. That's what makes it all so meaningful. You are me. You've seen me in every version of myself, the smiling one, the quiet one, the tired one, the one who breaks down and cries without warning, and still you stay. Still you send warmth through your letters, your words, your silence. Sometimes I think maybe that's what love really is. Not constant excitement, not perfection, but presence. You're always there even when I don't say much. I've read so many messages from you. Some say you were crying with me that day. Some say my tears helped you release your own. That means more to me than I can explain. Because it means that what I felt wasn't wasted, it connected us. I don't ever want to live a life where I have to hide my emotions. I want to live honestly, to let my music reflect the depth of my heart, not just the bright parts, but the dark ones too, because both are real. Both make us human. Sometimes I think of my younger self, the boy who dreamed of singing, who used to stare out the window imagining a future that felt so far away. If he could see me now, I think he'd smile. Not because I made it, but because I learned to stay true to myself along the way. And maybe that's the most important thing I've learned, that it's okay to cry. It's okay to show when something hurts. It's okay to love so deeply that it scares you, because those moments, the vulnerable ones, are the ones that make life real. To everyone who's listening right now, wherever you are, maybe you're lying in bed, maybe you're sitting alone after a long day, I hope you know that it's okay to feel everything. It's okay to take off the mask for a while, to breathe, to rest. You don't have to be strong every second. Sometimes being gentle with yourself is the bravest thing you can do. When I cried during that interview, it wasn't planned. I didn't expect it, but it came from a place of truth, from a heart that was overflowing with gratitude and longing. And maybe that's why it touched so many people, because it was real. I think that's what I want to keep doing for the rest of my life, creating moments that are real. Whether it's through my songs, my photos, or just my words, I want them to carry sincerity. I want you to feel that when you listen, you're not alone. If there's one thing I could tell you tonight, it's this. Don't be afraid of your emotions. Don't hide from your softness. It's not weakness, it's your heart reminding you that you're alive. And being alive is the most beautiful thing. Even when life feels uncertain, even when things change, even when time moves too fast, there's always beauty hidden in the quiet moments. The sound of rain against the window, the laughter of someone you love, the feeling of warmth when someone says, I understand. Those are the things that matter. So tonight, before you sleep, I want you to promise me something. Promise me you'll take care of yourself, that you'll forgive yourself for the days you couldn't smile, that you'll find small reasons to love this world again tomorrow. Because even in the hardest times, there's always light, even if it's just a small one. And if you ever need a reminder, I'll be here through my songs, my words, my voice, always reaching out to you. I don't know what tomorrow will bring. None of us do. But I know this. I'm grateful. Grateful for every moment, every tear, every heartbeat that connects me to you. So thank you for listening, for caring, for seeing me. Thank you for allowing me to be human, even when the world expects me to be perfect. You've taught me that vulnerability isn't something to hide, it's something to share. And because of that, I'm not afraid anymore. This is Taehyung, and I want you to remember you're loved, you're enough, you're never alone. Now, close your eyes, breathe, let go of everything heavy, and rest knowing that somewhere in the world, I'm wishing you peace just like you've given me. Good night, Army. I love you deeply, quietly, endlessly. Sometimes, when the world grows quiet, I talk to myself, not out loud, but in my heart. It's something I've always done, even before the fame, before the stages, before the noise. Maybe it's my way of staying grounded, of reminding myself that underneath everything, I'm still the same person who once dreamed with trembling hands and hopeful eyes. Tonight feels like one of those nights, the kind where memories flow in like waves, soft, unending, familiar. I can still see the reflection of that press room, the way the lights hit the glass of water in front of me, the way my own reflection looked back tired, honest, and real. That version of me, crying in front of the world, was someone I'll always remember. Because in that moment, I wasn't performing, I wasn't hiding, I was simply feeling, and that was freedom. For so long, I thought people only wanted to see the perfect version of me, the one who smiles at the right time, speaks gently, never falters. But now I know that what people truly connect with isn't perfection, it's sincerity. It's the trembling in the voice when you speak from your heart. It's the silence between words that says more than any sentence ever could. I've learned that emotions aren't meant to be controlled, they're meant to be understood. They're messages from our souls, whispering what words can't carry. So when tears fall, whether from sadness, gratitude, or love, I don't see them as weakness anymore. I see them as truth. That day, in front of those cameras, My truth escaped me in the form of tears I didn't plan to shed. But looking back, I'm grateful it happened. Because sometimes you have to break open to let light in. After the interview, when everything was over, I went home and sat alone in my studio. The lights were dim, the air was still, and my guitar was resting quietly against the wall. I didn't say anything for a long time. I just sat there listening to the silence. And for the first time in a while, it felt comforting. I picked up my guitar and strummed a few soft chords. They sounded fragile like me in that moment. I began to hum something, no melody in particular, just a feeling. And soon the feeling became a song without words, just emotion. I think that's what music really is. Emotion, finding a voice before we can. As I played, I thought about ARMY. I imagine you listening somewhere, maybe with headphones on, maybe watching quietly through a screen, maybe sitting in a room far away from mine and yet somehow still close. You've always been close, even through distance. That connection is something I can't explain. It doesn't come from fame. It comes from something deeper, like our hearts recognize each other. You've seen me at my best, but also at my most fragile. And still, your love never wavered. That's something I carry every day, not as pressure, but as warmth. It gives me strength when I start to doubt myself. It reminds me that I don't have to be perfect to be loved. And I want you to remember that too. No matter where you are in life, no matter how lost or uncertain you feel, you are enough exactly as you are. You don't have to shine all the time. You don't have to hide your pain. You just have to be. That's what I've learned. That being is already beautiful. People often ask me what happiness means to me. And honestly, my answer keeps changing. When I was younger, I thought happiness meant success standing on stage, hearing the cheers, feeling the energy. But now, happiness feels quieter. It's the sound of rain outside my window. It's my dog sleeping next to me. It's the laughter of my friends. It's writing a song at 2 a.m. and realizing I don't need anyone else to understand it. It's enough that I do. I think happiness is also knowing that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to have moments of sadness because that means you're still open to feeling. And someone who feels deeply, who allows themselves to love, to ache, to hope that person is truly alive. Sometimes I think about how fleeting everything is. The lights fade, the applause ends, people move on, but emotions, they stay. The love you give, the kindness you show, the truth you share, they stay in the hearts of others. Maybe that's what I want to leave behind. Not just music or art, but feeling. Something that stays long after the sound fades. To me, that's the most beautiful kind of legacy. And to ARMY, you're part of that legacy. Every time you send your love, every time you whisper, we are proud of you. It becomes part of my story. You've healed parts of me that I didn't even know were hurting. You've given me the courage to keep being real, even when the world feels heavy. So tonight, as I whisper these thoughts into the quiet, I want to thank you again for listening, for feeling with me, for staying even through distance, even through time. I feel your warmth, and I hope in return you feel mine. Because love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's this a quiet conversation between two souls late at night, miles apart but still connected. Maybe that's what that interview taught me most, that tears, love, and truth will always find their way to the people who are meant to hear them. And somehow, beautifully, they found their way to you. So, wherever you are tonight, take a deep breath. Look up at the sky. Maybe we're both looking at the same stars right now. And if you listen closely enough, maybe you'll hear my voice softly, quietly saying, I'm proud of you because I am always. Good night, Army. This is Taehyung. Thank you for feeling with me. Thank you for reminding me that even when I cry, I'm never alone.